we will look exclusively at backhoe loaders. This video is packed full of knowledge, so refer to the timestamps in the description below so that you can jump right to a specific topic. Backhoe loaders are fascinating equipment with many uses and lots of versatility. Let's now feed our brain with knowledge.
Welcome to Feed Your Brain.
This is a backhoe loader. To understand names of things and remembering names, think about the simple reason why this equipment is called a backhoe loader. It's because, first, this part is called a backhoe. Just like a gardening tool is called a hoe. This scoop here is also called a hoe, because it is used to dig into the ground. And this arm is called a backhoe, because it is located in the back. And the second reason that equipment is called a backhoe loader is because the front part is called a loader. It's used to load dirt or rocks or other heavy things into a dump truck to haul away. The main body is called the tractor. But the common usage of the word tractor is for referring to farm tractors, like this one. So we do not refer to the backhoe loader as a tractor, because then it would be too confusing. The part where the driver sits and steers and controls the equipment is called the cab. But wait, do you notice that there is the front side and the back side, but only one steering wheel and seat? So how does the driver use the backhoe when it's behind them? The seat can be turned around to face the back, and the controls for the backhoe are also located on the backside as well, so when the driver is operating the backhoe, he is facing the back of the vehicle, and therefore he is facing the backhoe. This front scooper and this back scooper are called buckets. You can communicate more specifically about each part so that everyone knows exactly what you are talking about. So this front bucket is called the loader bucket, and this name should make sense to you, because it's the bucket for the loader, so it's called the loader bucket. So then what is this rear bucket called? This rear bucket is called the backhoe bucket. You know so many words now with a backhoe loader, let's continue learning more. What does this part do? This is the stabilizer leg, and there is one on each side for a total of 2 stabilizer legs. These legs are up when the loader is being used, such as in this photo. But let's look at this photo, where the backhoe is being used to dig up a street. Here are the stabilizer legs, here, and these stabilizer legs keep the body of the tractor stable while the powerful backhoe bucket is digging up the ground. In this mode, with the stabilizer legs down, the rear wheels and rear end of the tractor are lifted up. This part of the backhoe is called the boom or backhoe boom. This part is called the stick or backhoe stick. You'll notice cylinders here, and here. On the outside, yes, these are referred to as cylinders. But in actuality, these are much more. These are the hydraulic pistons inside each cylinder, which provides the power for each part. Check out my other video on hydraulics, where I go into detail about hydraulics. Hydraulics are amazing. The pressurized fluid inside each of these thin tubes is all that's needed to push out and pull in each piston and piston rod. Hydraulics, or the power of pressurized fluid, is something fascinating that is worth looking at further to understand the power of compressed fluids. And Pascal's law is how we first understood the power of fluids, thanks to Blaise Pascal. Let's now take a closer look at some of what's going on with the cab. The cab is surrounded with curved panels of tempered glass, which is a very strong glass. This protects the operator inside from flying debris and wind. Here are 2 joystick controls for the backhoe. These are used when the seat in the rear-facing position. Here are safety lights and spotlights. Here is a fender over the left rear tire. And here is a fender over the right rear tire. Fenders help keep mud and rock and water from getting splashed onto the cab and other parts. Attached to the backhoe boom is the swing frame, here. And the swing cylinder, here, which allows the backhoe to move from side to side. Let's look at more items on the tractor area. Here is the front-facing steering wheel. Here are the foot pedals for the gas and the brake. Here is a step to step up into the cab, because the cab is high off the ground. Here is a spotlight, which points to the front of the vehicle. Here is the one seat, which can be rotated to face the rear of the vehicle. Here is the engine. Here is the exhaust pipe. Here is the really large rear tire. And here is the tread on the tire. These tires have really big tread because they have to move through dirt and mud and rocks without getting stuck. And this inner metal round part is the wheel. Let's look at this backhoe loader again. Do you know how tall this is? What is the height? We will look at the height in feet and inches, which is the imperial system of measurement used in the United States of America. If feet and inches confuse you, then you are more familiar with the metric system, which is the most used measurement system in the world. So if you'd like to see these measurements in centimeters, you'd multiply 1 inch by 2.54. So do you know how tall this backhoe loader is? If you were standing next to it, would it be this tall? Or would it be this tall? Or would it be this tall? Well, this backhoe loader is about 9.5 feet tall, to the top of the cab. This is approximately 2.9 meters tall. The average height of a person is 5 feet, 9 inches tall. Which is 5 3/4 feet tall, but you wouldn't say this, you'd only say 5 feet, 9 inches tall. So an average height person would stand this tall to this backhoe loader. That means this is a very tall backhoe loader. How tall is this backhoe loader compared to a car? Here is the 2022 Mustang Mach-E all-electric car. This car is 5 feet 3 inches tall. This is approximately 1.6 meters tall. How about comparing the height to a pickup truck? Here is a Dodge Ram 1500 pickup truck. This truck is 6 feet 5.5 inches tall, or 77.5 inches tall. This comes to almost 1.97 meters tall. So now you can see how tall the backhoe loader is compared to the average height of a person, compared to the height of a car, and to the height of a pickup truck. And look just how giant the rear tire is. It's about 4.5 feet tall, wow! This cab is so high up, look, there are 2 steps, here and here, to climb up into the cab. This bucket can be changed out to many different types of useful attachments. Here are a few examples. This is a coal loading bucket, to maximize the ability to lift and load coal. This is called a flat floor bucket, and this one has teeth. Each of these are called teeth. This is a light material bucket, to lift up light materials. This is called a brush handling grapple. See how it's not a bucket, but it's a grabber, with 2 sets of claws, to open wide and clamp down onto brush. This is called a log grapple, to clamp down onto logs and lift them up. This is a forklift attachment, to be able to lift up heavy and large pallets. This is a loaded pallet you'll find in warehouses. This is called a rock bucket or a skeleton bucket. See the spaces in here. These openings allow smaller objects and sand and dirt to fall through so that only large objects such as large rocks are lifted up and carried away. And here with the loader arm, there is a cylinder here, and here. And there are 2 more, in the same positions, on the right side. And as a reminder, these cylinders are what provide the massive power needed to lift the massive weight of rocks and other debris, and inside the cylinders is where all of the hard work is done. Each cylinder has a hydraulic piston and piston rod, and the piston and piston rod are moved back and forth by pressurized hydraulic fluid, and the pressurized hydraulic fluid comes through these tubes. Thanks to Pascal's law and the power of compressed fluids. Isn't that amazing? How much weight can the loader lift? These loader arms, with these hydraulic piston rods, can lift up to a maximum of 3,200 pounds. This lbs is short for the word pounds. That's a lot of weight. With the metric system of measurement, this weight is approximately 1,451 kilograms. Because 1 pound equals 0.45359237 kilograms. How can we understand just how heavy 3,200 pounds is? Let's compare that weight to a vehicle. A 2022 Honda Civic weighs approximately 3,000 pounds. That's about 1,361 kilograms. So this loader can lift the weight of this Honda Civic. Isn't that amazing? How far down can the backhoe dig? Let's now look at this question. If this backhoe's height, like we said earlier, is 9.5 feet tall at the top of the cab, then we will make it this size on top of the ground for this example. So then how far down can the backhoe bucket dig? Each mark here is a foot. We can dig down, deeper and deeper. And this backhoe can dig down as far as, guess how many feet down? This backhoe can dig down as far as 14 feet, that's quite a deep hole. Isn't that amazing? Let's learn more about backhoe loaders. Look how high up the loader bucket can go. This loader is dumping a bucket full of dirt into a dump truck. What can you identify in this image? Look at the cab. It's enclosed in tempered glass. This helps keep it warm inside and helps keep out any cold air or wind. What is this? This is a fender. It's over the wheel and blocks mud and rocks and water from getting up onto the cab or other parts. And here is the front fender. What is this part? This is the exhaust pipe. The exhaust is what comes out of the engine after the diesel gas is ignited inside the engine. This is where the engine is. For this size of backhoe loader, the engine will typically be a 4-cylinder diesel engine. In front of the engine is the radiator, which cools radiator fluid, and the radiator fluid passes throughout the engine to help cool it down, because engines get very hot. Notice when the loader bucket is being used, like it is here in this image, that the stabilizer legs are up and therefore not being used. You only lower down and engage the stabilizer legs when the backhoe is being operated. What is going on here? This backhoe is raised up really high, but it's not digging up anything. Aren't backhoes just for digging? Well, backhoes are so powerful, they can be used for lifting heavy objects as well. So what is this backhoe lifting up high? Can you believe it, but this backhoe is lifting up palm trees? How cool is that? The palm trees are being lifted up and out of this dump truck, and then the palm trees are lowered down onto the ground, like you see here. Then the palm trees are planted in the ground, like these two. And then the palm trees are held up by wood supports like you see here. Then this is the new location for these palm trees to stay, and they'll grow taller, and then later, this wood will be removed and the trees will be able to stand on their own. Let's look at this backhoe loader. What do you see different here? Look here. This is not a bucket in the back. Then what is this? This is a hydraulic hammer. It's not used to scoop anything up like a bucket. It's used to break up hard soil or asphalt or concrete or rocks. Let's take a closer look at the hydraulic hammer. This part is called the chisel. This is what slams into the hard material to break it up. Through the power of hydraulics, this chisel moves up and down rapidly and with great force. By doing so, the chisel is able to break up the hard materials. Such power is dangerous, and this equipment should only be handled by a capable and trained adult. What else can we understand here? Look at the cab. There is no tempered glass around the cab. So this cab is open to the air. Any cold air or rain or snow would get on the operator as well. Better hope this vehicle is used in only warm and dry conditions. Here is the label 4x4. 4x4 means that all four of the wheels have power from the engine. Lots of cars and some pickup trucks are only 4x2, or two-wheel drive, which means that only the front or the rear wheels have power from the engine. But if you are on dirt or mud, your vehicle needs power on all four wheels. What else can we see here? Where is the loader arm anchored to the tractor body? The loader arm is mounted here onto the body of the tractor. Look how far back it is mounted. Do you know why? Because the loader can lift such heavy weight, the heavy weight needs to be put onto the center of the tractor frame, which is about right here. If the loader arm was mounted more in the front, like here, the tractor would tip forward, and that would not be what anyone wants. Let's look closer at the cab. Here is the steering wheel. Here is the control panel. Here is the seat, which is facing forward. To use the controls for the backhoe, the seat is turned around to face the backhoe, which is the rear of the tractor. This is the joystick that controls the loader arm and loader bucket. These are the joysticks that control the Backhoe Boom, arm, and bucket. This model is called the Case Construction King. What a prestigious title! Look at the thick tread on these tractor tires. These tires need a lot of tread to pull through thick mud and sand. This thin bar here is the handlebar, to grab onto to lift oneself up into the cab. And here are lights. And lights are on the backhoe side as well. Let's look at some various uses of backhoe loaders. This one is dumping a load of rocks. Imagine how heavy such a load is. And this loader bucket looks like a special type. Here is an old photo from 1948, that's more than 80 years ago. On the photo is this label, which states, "First backhoe in the U.S." So this first backhoe was attached to an existing tractor, and the same basic concept, as you've already seen, still exists to this day. Let's zoom into the backhoe to see what we can understand from this photo. Of course, here is the backhoe bucket, and you can see the teeth on the bucket here. How is this backhoe being powered? Can you see the hydraulic cylinders? There is a long one here, on top. And do you see the second hydraulic cylinder? It's here down below. Let's look at how this backhoe moves. First, here is just the top hydraulic piston moving in and out. You can see that only the arm and bucket move forward and backward. Now the bottom hydraulic piston will shorten, which means the entire backhoe arm and bucket will move down. Then in this down position, the bucket can move inward by the top hydraulic piston rod pushing out of its cylinder. And this is how a backhoe was built in 1948. How interesting is that? Here is a backhoe digging up a trench on a street in front of a row of stores. It's making a pile of dirt here. And here is the trench. Look here. When the stabilizer legs are engaged, like they are here, the back of the tractor is lifted up. Look here. The back tires are lifted up and are not touching the pavement. This creates more stability and strength for the backhoe to perform its job. Here is a tough-looking backhoe loader. What company made this particular equipment? Look here, and here. These are the initials of the manufacturer, JCB. The company JCB built this equipment. And the model name is here and here. 3CX is the model of this JCB Backhoe Loader. Here is a backhoe loader using its loader bucket to push snow out of the way. You see the name, Deere here. This is the name of the manufacturer, John Deere. Here is another John Deere loader. This time, it's lifting up a bucket full of sand to dump inside the bed of this dump truck. Here is a loader dropping a full bucket of wood chips onto a large pile, inside a large warehouse. This loader is pushing lots of sand forward to create a level surface of dirt. Here is a loader scooping up dirt and carrying it away, to clear this area so the land can be flat. Let's look closer at this backhoe loader. These letters here, C, A, T, are the logo for the name of the manufacturer of this equipment, which is Caterpillar. Here you can see the model number, which is 420E-IT. So from this information, we can look online to find out the details, or the specifications, for this particular backhoe loader equipment. The height of the tractor, from the ground to the top of the cab, is 9.25 feet tall, which is also 9 feet, 3 inches tall. This converts to 2.8 meters in height. Guess how much this particular loader arm can lift up? Earlier on, we discussed how the prior loader arm could lift up to 3,200 pounds, but this particular loader arm is much more powerful. This loader arm can lift up to 6,457 pounds. That's also 2,928.8 kilograms? What object weighs the same? This Dodge Ram 1500 TRX weighs about 6,500 pounds. So, believe it or not, this loader arm is strong enough to lift up this Dodge Ram. Now, isn't that amazing? The Caterpillar engine inside this tractor is referred to as a C4.4 Diesel Engine. It's an inline engine with 4 cylinders, and it has a 4-stroke cycle. The fuel tank can hold up to 38 gallons, or 143.8 liters, of diesel fuel. This particular wheel loader weighs a whopping 16,920.5 pounds. Or 7,675 kilograms. The hydraulic fluid, that's used to power the hydraulic pistons within each cylinder, can hold up to 20.9 gallons, or 79.1 liters, of fluid. The oil system capacity is 2 gallons, or 7.57 liters. The cooling system fluid capacity is 4.4 gallons, or 16.65 liters. The transmission fluid capacity is 5 gallons, or 18.9 liters. The rear tires are huge, they are 52 inches in diameter. The diameter of a circle is from one end to the other, in a straight line across the center point. 52 inches is 4 feet 4 inches, and that's 1.32 meters tall. Each rear tire weighs a whopping 217 pounds, or 98.4 kilograms. To help understand just how heavy 217 pounds really is, imagine the weight of a 20-pound bag of potatoes, and only try to lift one if you are fully able to, without injuring yourself or anyone else. How imagine all the weight of one bag of potatoes, but now there were 11 of these bags to lift. That is a lot of weight. Each rear tire costs from about $700 to $1,000. That is a lot of money for one tire. This concludes our research into the world of backhoe loaders. We hope you enjoy feeding your brain as much as we enjoyed bringing you this information. Please hit like and subscribe. That helps a lot. And thank you for watching.
Feed your brain.